Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 5-9 gaming video. Today we are going to talk about our first ever fan-made Zenkai units made by you. We've got over 70 submissions, so thanks to all of you who made the time of their day and submitted us your ideas and your thoughts on what the GT tag needs. Unfortunately, with the amount of submissions, it was impossible for us to cover every one of them. But we picked a few, so each of our creators will talk about one of the submissions that they liked specifically, go through the changes, give their opinions, and of course we would like to know what you thought about those down in the comments. With that said, I'm going to start us off. Have fun, enjoy the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. So the submission that I picked was for Green Super 17 because I felt he is an underrated or very underutilized unit, and I wanted him to gain some new glory because, of course, you can Zenkai buff him with Android 16, but I wanted to have him specifically for the GT team, especially since GT doesn't really have super good greens. I guess Super Full Power Saiyan 4 would be the best one. And then you have the baby Vegeta and the Kid Goku, and that's pretty much it. I picked the submission by Sinister, so thank you for submitting your idea. And we will go through it right now. Starting with the Zenkai ability, which he says increases stats towards green and GT, of course. 20% to both blast attack and defense, and 15% for strike attack and defense. So I'm assuming at Zenkai 7 this will be 35 and 40% respectively. He has 2.7 million HP. His strike attack is a respectable 245k, and his blast attack is even better since he's a ranged or defense type. But with a ranged focus, so 263k is quite a lot. And having over 220,000 strike and blast defense makes him a tank. And that is kind of what I liked, is that he is now versatile, where before he wouldn't do any damage. He would just, you know, tank, absorb, and then your hand will be full of green cards. So let's have a look at their new main ability, which is this ends now, right here. And what does it do? It draws, of course, the ultimate. It gives 60% blast damage to for 20 timer counts. Before that, it was 50%, so it's not a huge buff, but it also gives 50% to damage, minus 50% to damage received, and it restores the 20 key, which is good because you need that, you know. It's like, it's just a modern thing, modern part of your kit to have key restore, just in order to be able to use that ult. So if you swap in after a blast card with no key from a different character, you can just pop that main, use the ult, and paralyze everybody, which is just awesome. Because paralysis is fair, right? All right, so let's have a look at their arts cards. So I'm going to put the arts cards over here so you can compare. The first column is Flash Bomber, so that's the blue card. Deals major impact damage, of course. 30% to blast damage inflicted for 20 counts, which is a 5% and 5 count buff. Seals strike arts cards for 5 timer counts upon landing the attack, which is super annoying. Imagine playing that with a Troll, Hercule, or Frieza. If you land that, it's almost like Gogeta's green card, just easier to land, right? So Energy Absorption, it absorbs the enemy's key attack, so that should be the green card, of course. I think almost every submission that I saw made the buff to 15% instead of 10. However, this one says restores own HP by 20, which is it's pretty OP. I've seen others do restore ally health, which is also awesome, but yeah, I decided to go with that. Reduces damage received by 50% for 10 counts. So if you absorb key and heal, you also become even tankier on top of your 220k defense stats. Plus 25% damage inflicted for 25 counts, so a small buff, and reduces enemy key by 60. Randomly destroys one of the opponent's cards. So imagine doing that when your opponent just drew a super or a an ultimate card. Can be annoying. And the ultimate skill, Shocking Death Ball, deals massive impact damage that stays, inflicts enemies with attribute downgrade plus 15 to own strike and blast cost for 20 counts. So that's gotta severely hamper whatever attack the opponent wants to do. 100% chance to inflict all enemies with paralyzed on hit. That stays, reduces damage received by 30% for 20 timer counts. That is new. And it heals all allies by 15%. I love that because, I mean, GT has Baby, to heal on swap out, but I like this, it's just like a one-time heal. It heals everybody by 15%, so it's also kind of a team utility that you have there, which is great. So let's have a look at the uniques. The first unique is growing energy, and how would it change? The following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield. Reduces damage received by 60% for 15 counts, which is pretty much double the damage reduction for 5 more counts. 35% to blast damage per enemy defeated, that's a small buff, and 25% damage inflicted upon defeating an enemy, say also a small buff, but it reduces 20 ki, I'm assuming on your opponent's side, because otherwise that would be a bit detrimental. It's kind of a Majin Vegeta says hello. The second unique, Dr. Mew's absorption equipment, is the absorption on cover change. So when you swap in, it absorbs the enemy's ki blast, or also works on blue cards, restores own health by 20, so he has a bigger health buff here. Reduces damage received by 50% for 15 counts, so that's also quite the buff, instead of 30 for 5 counts. 25% damage inflicted for 25 counts, and reduces enemy ki by 60 again. Heals all allies by 15%, so you have another team heal over here, which means that your opponent has to be really careful when using those blast cards and dropping combo. So we have one more unique. Did he take away? So one thing I'm seeing here is still you draw special arts cards next 3 times. He took that away, I think. And inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade 10% for strike costs. He took that away, or maybe he forgot that, because I kind of like that it doesn't do that, because having your hand clogged with green cards is kind of annoying when then your opponent is just using a couple of strikes to bait you out. That I always hated that fact about Android Super 17. Now let's look at the first new unique at Zenkai level 3. Never go up against the ultimate android. And what does it do? The following effects occur when an enemy switches on the battlefield, reduces enemy ki by 25, and increases enemy sub count by 5. So whenever that person swaps out, 15 timer counts cooldown. That's annoying. The second unique, just lay there and die. The following effects occur when 2 allies are defeated, so last man is minus 80% to damage received for 10 counts, 30% to blast damage inflicted, and minus 5 to own arts cards cost for 10 timer counts. So basically, defeat your opponent quickly when you are the last man on the field. So now let's see the reasoning for making him the way he made it, or they made it. So what made you decide to make the character the way you did? Super 17 was an annoying character when he first released, and judging by this meta that we're unfortunately stuck in now, it seems as if we need a rather annoying defensive unit instead of certain someone who doesn't care. I designed 17 to be both defensive and offensive, with a trickle of other interesting abilities, including sub count and arts cost. And what role does Sinister see the character and their teams, and how do they fit the current and potential future meta you see? So let's see. I see 17 as being defensive unit in GT. GT fell off a while back, and one type of unit they're going to need in the future is a defensive unit that can both tank hits and heal allies as well. I think 17 fits our current meta because due to a recent update, players are now able to switch consistently. However, with 17's passive to increase sub count, he can be an annoying unit to deal with. I agree with that. I tried to make him a little more of a defensive unit, so I decided to add healing for support and also to make him more tanky since he's a defensive type. Hope this isn't too broken or underwhelming. First time designing a Zenkai unit. So first of all, I actually really like the heals all allies by 15% on ultimate and on swap-in, because the ultimate you can land almost safely unless your opponent has like Super Saiyan 3, Goku or Cell or Bojack, which is almost never the case these days. So basically, unless there's a cover swap, you'll land those 15%. It also makes it a little more strategic of when to use this ultimate, because before that, you would just, whenever you had a combo, you just click it and just go, 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 paralyze everybody. But now you also have you have ally heal for 15%, which means, you have to look, okay, am I still at full HP? Do I need the heal right now? But then again, you also have the 15% heal when you swap into a blast card. I think that's really, really cool. I also like the increased enemy substitution count by 5, which is just annoying. And I think that his stats are actually fair. They sounded busted to me at first, but I kind of have to say I really like it. So thanks again, Sinister, for your submission. I'm going to hand it over to the next creator. Enjoy the rest of the video. Palms are out.
Привет, друзья! Anatoly, the Soviet Super Saiyan here, getting to show off what I think was my favorite fan-made Zenkai for the GT tag. Now, the one that I chose was one made by Sage Uchiha 9, and he did a mock-up Zenkai for SP Blue Pan. Personally, this was one of my favorite characters back in the day when she was actually really viable, and then again when she got her buff. So I would love to see, Blue Pan get a Zenkai, and I think Sage did a really good job designing her. On this side over here, I'm actually going to have up on Legends DBZ space Pan stats, and we can see her here at level 5014 start, as many of us have. But for her Zenkai ability, instead of going the GT route, Sage actually, designed her to have, blue and tag girls, 35% to both offenses, 40% to both defenses. And, I think that's a pretty decent choice. And her new stats at, maxed out at Z7. If we look over here to compare them, her strike defense got about 25k more. Blast defense got about 35k more. And both her attacks, it's looking like about, 30k for attack and for strike attack and 20k for blast attack. So she would immediately, without even looking at the rest of the buffs, would be hitting pretty hard, but tanking just about anything. Like those are brick wall defense stats, and that health is pretty high to start with too. Like almost 3 million just to start. That's nice. Their new main ability would switch from this one here, and it's pretty much the exact same thing. They get a special arts card. The card draw art speed, the enemies are inflicted with arts card draw speed down, but now it would be for 25 counts instead of 20. And they would get minus 50% to their key recovery for 25 counts instead of minus 30 to 20. And on top of that, as a brand new ability, allies would get 40% to health restoration for 60 counts. Now, these middle two are solid improvements, but not too much more. But the allies' health restoration up, that could be devastating. I'm thinking not even so much on GT, but on girls, where you have Vados, where she's going to be healing on every switch. This gives me baby vibes right here. Like when he dropped on his initial banner, that'd be gnarly. And now to the changes to their arts cards. Strike would remain the same, more or less. But Blast, now upon activation, would restore Pan's vanishing gauge by 10% now. That's really big. I mean, in a combo, if you even pop off, say, 2 Blasts, you're in a much better position to be able to stall out for a quick sec and have that whole gauge back. Like, that would be big. That would be big. Her special move, Maiden Blast, would keep the major impact as its damage modifier, but the enemies would get plus 30% to damage. I'm assuming he meant damage received here for 10 timer counts upon hit, which kind of an interesting choice. He would have it double the damage, but then not last nearly as long. But I kind of feel like doubling up on how much extra damage they would receive is more impactful. Kind of interesting choice for design there, though. And now her green, Dancing Parapara, would give 30% strike damage, but not just to her, but to her allies for 30 timer counts. And it'll restore her own key by 40, so you can immediately use it to, get back your key and have the key available for your next card. That would honestly, I feel like 30 timer counts is just so long. I mean, it would not be difficult to, pop a green with her, and then if you happen to get another one by the time she comes back in, stack on 60% strike damage for 8, 10, 12 counts. I mean, you'll just be shredding people at that point. And obviously, you'd have to build your team to be strike-based to, get the most out of it, but that could be devastating. That's a really powerful green card there. Going over to her unique abilities, the first one would change from plus 40% to own key recovery from battle start for 35 counts to, upon entering the battlefield, she gets plus 40% key recovery and plus 25% damage, and restores health by 10%. That's incredibly powerful. This will take her from, being kind of the early blitzer she was back in the day when she was strong to being relevant every single time that she comes into the battlefield until those buffs get knocked off. Now, her second unique would pretty much be the one old one that she had, but modified to, instead of being locked to a timer count, being locked to as long as she's alive. Now, it used to be 40% to own key recovery for 35 counts from the battle start, and allies get 30% damage inflicted from the battle start for 25 counts. Now, I believe this is a way better design, really modernized it. Her allies just get 30% damage inflicted and 30% key recovery until she dies. And, kind of reminds me of, I think, the Green Bulma and the, Turtles and stuff. Like, other characters that we've seen in more recent history that they give these support... Oh, and the LF Frieza, who give these support buffs as they exist until they're gone, which I like that design a lot, truth be told. Now, at Z3, the unique that you would unlock is Not Just a Kid. Applies the following effects to allies when this character is switched to standby. Restores ki by 40, 20% to damage inflicted for 25 counts, and restores allied tag girls, GT, and Sun family health by 10%. Now, this is a wicked support ability here. I mean, that repeatable healing, especially when it be in combination with her main ability, would just give all those tags so much just durability throughout the length of a match. The restore key ensures that if you have a card in hand, you can immediately use it, and that plus 20% to allies for 25 counts, that's solid. That's not locked to a specific card or nothing, so it'll just be consistent, pretty easy to get damage support and health support for the whole team. Like, all in all, I would almost say that that's a little too much for a Z3, but nah, it's Legends we're talking about here. Now, coming up on the Z6 ability, this one here may be the only one that I have to say it's just too much. Like, even Dimps would go, okay, guys, we gotta roll it back a little bit. His Z6 ability is called Family of Protectors. Shortens allied tag girls, GT, and Sun family substitution count by 1 time every time when hit with a strike, blast, or special move arts card while this character is on the battlefield. Reduce next damage received by 50% when the battle starts. The following effects occur when the enemy attack is over. Restore 20% of damage received, up to 20% of health. 20% damage inflicted by allied girls and tag GT. And on top of that, she would reduce damage received by 30% when changing cover. Now, honestly, out of all of these, the one that I think would just be too much is the shortened substitution count one. And the biggest reason why I think so is, honestly, we're going right back to Vados, because easily, if you get hit by a combo, especially these days where double card draw speed and stuff like that is so common, well, man, you could probably be cutting Vados's, switch out time down by 3-4 counts easily, and then between her and Pan just bouncing back forth, and especially if you have Pan's main pop and you're getting that extra healing, that would just be an unfathomable amount of healing. And I mean, just think about this: what you could do, like in a short time frame, you switch in Vados, you get her heal. Then, Pan's in there. You cover cut with her, which doesn't do too much damage to you because she, reduces damage by 30% on cover cut. She eats 4 cards. Combo's been 4 counts. Then, 2 more counts pass. Pan has healed off 20% of the damage she received, plus whatever the extra bonus from her main would be. And then 6 counts later, she switches out, restores the team by 10%, plus, the main buff. And then, Vados is back in there, and 10 counts later, she's going to be, healing your team again. I think that if you kept all these abilities, except for that very first one, that would still be a very, very solid Z6 ability. And honestly, you could even keep the first ability, I think, and maybe lock it to, let's say, reword it to, if Pan is hit while she is on the battlefield, reduce allied substitution count by 2. Now, not saying that reducing it by 2 isn't a major deal, but it's not, that limitless countdown where you can hit 3, 4, maybe even 5 counts off a character who just switched out pretty easily. And I think that would tame its power level a little bit to where I could say, yeah, it's still busted, but hey, that's a Z6 Zenkai unique for you. And now let's go down to him explaining, his reasons by why he wanted to do Pan and why he think that how he thinks she would fit on their teams in the current meta and the future one. As far as his reasoning, he says, while female warriors have Zenkai 18 and Kefla as powerhouses, they don't have many characters that are not only good fits for the team, but buff them with their Z abilities. Pan would also provide GT with the heavily needed support that can also deal damage to characters in this meta. And, I agree with him 100% there. Like, Girls is good right now, don't get me wrong, but it's a brute force approach to it, where there's some teams where, the combination of Z ability and their synergy and their, overall power levels kind of comes together to make a really good team. Girls right now is literally just, hey, we have beaters. And, it doesn't really matter that they're not necessarily buffing the rest of the team. You're just running this handful of characters, and they do enough for themselves. With Pan, I'm almost positive she gives a, let's look, strike attack buff. Scroll down a little bit. Yeah, just a flat strike attack buff to Girls and Sun family. And even just that would be, an improvement over some of the characters that get ran there right now. And yeah, I agree with him that GT heavily needs support. I mean, GT needs literally pretty much everything at this point. But yeah, she would definitely be a very helpful support for that team. And oh yeah, she's definitely going to be dealing damage to characters in this meta. Her raw stats, not to mention all those abilities that she can stack on herself, pretty much mean that she's going to be shredding through everything but like purely defensive oriented characters. Like 16 will probably be able to block her and stuff, but the list after him is short. And now, as far as the question of what role did he see the character on their teams and how do they fit into the current and potential future metas, he said mainly as a healing support, a la Super Baby 2 when he was first released, and that she could also work well as a last stand unit. And honestly, yeah, if you Z7 a character, pretty much any one that I can think of, they're going to be a decent last stand unit just based on the fact of how good their raw stats are. And he's saying here that he sees the kits and everything he gave her as mainly being a healing support. I'd have to disagree a little bit there. I think she would be, pretty squarely a hybrid of offensive and health support to the whole team. And I think he's underestimating how powerful she would be offensively herself, start to finish. But all in all, I really enjoyed this design that Sage Uchiha 9 made. And I'm a little biased, I'm not gonna lie. I loved Pan as a card when she first came out, and then after she got her update to be stronger. But regardless, I think he chose a character that fills some gaps on tags and teams that really needed it. And he made her powerful enough to be very relevant again if she got dropped without necessarily warping the game for a while like, say, Zenkai LF Gohan did. But, that's about all I have to say about this design that I really liked. So I'm going to pass the torch off to Goresh.
Hey guys, Goresh here, and I'm going to close out this video by sort of giving my thoughts on the one of the 73 responses that we received for the Zenkai GT unit that I thought was interesting. I didn't read through everything, obviously, because there's just so much to go off of. And with Legends units, we've typically done this for Dokkan in the past. It's just, with Legends units, there's so much more to them than Dokkan. It's like, you can't read through 73 responses of full, broken out units, because it's just going to take you forever. So, very hard to pick which one I wanted to pick, but this is the one I ended up choosing from Mui here. So he chose the Sparking Red GT Goku, which is this one right here. The one that destroys Super 17 in the series. And that's an interesting concept because I feel like this guy actually could receive a Zenkai. Like, it's not out of the question. It's not like, Super Saiyan 4 purple Goku. Like, he could get one, but I think this guy's a lot more likely to get one. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he ended up doing in terms of the stats. I have this guy already maxed out at the 14 stars, and I assume, Zenkai 7, 400%. I assume this is also 14 stars. So in terms of the actual stats, 285, 240, 285 to okay, and then the defenses are 174, 177. Yeah, I mean that seems likely actually. Honestly, the strike attack could probably be a little higher, because we've seen like Super Saiyan 3 Goku, the purple one, have a very very high strike attack. Same thing with Demon King Piccolo. Same thing with a lot of those melee based Zenkai units. But those stats seem very likely. Something that could definitely happen. New main ability, so let's just actually go look at what his main ability is right now, and we'll go look at what it changes to. So the current one is draws the ultimate arts card Dragon Fist, restores zone ki by 30, and then destroys all of your enemy's cards. So there's no card draw speed, there's no healing, there's no damage buff, there's nothing of that sort on here right now. All right, and the way that he changed this was, so he draws the ultimate arts card, he gets 60 ki now instead of 30. He gets 30% damage inflicted for 30 counts, which was not there prior. He destroys all the cards, which is there, and he cancels attribute upgrades. Okay. And requires 25 counts, and this is the same. Okay. Yeah, honestly, that seems pretty damn good to me, because canceling attribute upgrades is like one of the more powerful effects you can have on your main. This is doing a lot. Destroying cards, canceling upgrades, damage inflicted, and ki energizing your ult. Yeah, that's a really powerful main ability. And then what changes would you make to their card art specifically? I think he only has the blue card here. So we'll go take a look what his blue card is doing right now. Dragon Fist, massive. Oh, sorry, that's the ultimate. Special move is Dragon Flash, deals major, and then it's 25% strike damage for 15 counts. So he changed that to 40% to strike damage for 40 counts. Yeah, okay, so 40 counts is a long time. I don't know if they would change a blue card to be that long, a blue card effect to be that long. I'm thinking like if they're going to do 40% strike damage, I think they would probably do like 40%, but then it would probably only last for like 20 or 25, not 40. 40 is a very, very long time. But I mean, it seems like that's what they would change about that. Ultimate Arts card is prior to the change, massive, and then it's minus 50% to enemy sustained damage cut for 3 counts, and then it nullifies endurance, right? That's all it's doing here. So post change, what it's doing is minus 50% enemy sustained damage cut effects when changing cover. Okay, that's the same. Nullifies enemies from health from nature 0 effects. Yep, that's endurance. And then no switching. Okay, so that's what's new about it. So everything is the same except for that no switching part, which is actually interesting. I like that. I guess GT, because GT already has one of these effects, right, with Super Saiyan 4 Purple Goku's blue card. And I think that's the only way that they can do that on GT right now. Actually, no, Omega Shenron's green card has a no switching effect on it as well. So honestly, it sounds kind of cancerous and toxic, but like they can sort of shift GT if they would do something like this, they could sort of like shift GT into being more like the no switching team, where they lock you in just like on a million different effects. That could be like their identity as a tag, I guess, if they want to do that. But this is interesting. Would definitely make this guy a lot more powerful, because you can just like lock in a yellow unit or something and kill them. So he doesn't have the green card on here, but I imagine they would obviously update the green card as well. So let's just take a look at it. Unyielding Stance, plus 20% to strike damage inflicted for 15 counts, increases arch card draw speed 1 level for 10 counts, and then cancels own attribute downgrades. Honestly, this doesn't really need that big of a buff. It's still a pretty good green card. What I would do is I'd probably make it like 25% for 20 counts, and then increase arch card draw speed 1 level for like 12 seconds or something. There are 12 counts instead of 10. Like, it doesn't really need that big of a buff, but I think just because it's getting a Zenkai, they would probably change it a little bit and make it a little bit better. And then we have the unique abilities as well. So the first one is, God, it's so jarring seeing how small these uniques are for these characters. Because nowadays, like, one unique ability is like this long. All right, so the first unique is Return from Hell. The following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield. He gets 40% damage for 20 counts and 40% to ki recovery for 20 counts. So his post Zenkai one is 50% to damage inflicted for 20 counts, cannot be canceled. Okay, yeah, he has the cannot be canceled thing. And then restores ki by 30 is very, very interesting. So this might not look like a big buff, but that's like a gigantic buff to this character. I don't think they would do that. I think if they were going to add this effect to this unit, they'd probably move this down to a Zenkai specific unique ability. I don't think they would add that to one of his existing ones. But yeah, that would be extremely powerful if they did that. And then I like the cannot be canceled, because that's not currently on here, and that's what a lot of newer units are getting these days, is their buffs can't be canceled right off the bat. So definitely like that. Second unique is Chaotic Aggression. The following effects occur every time this character uses a strike or blast card. I remember seeing this for the first time and thinking, and I thought it was like ridiculous. Honestly, it could be. Restores on key by 5 and then 15% to ultimate damage inflicted for 30 counts. So yeah, it's only locked to ultimate damage. I didn't actually look at how he changed this yet, but what I would do is I'd probably just make this effect his actual damage as well. So the second one is, the following effects occur every time this character uses a strike or blast. Restores on key by 5. So instead of, okay, no, it's the same. Okay, so 5 is the same. Randomly draws 1 card, activates 2 times, and then activation count resets when character switches. Oh my god. He's doing the Vegeta Blue thing, huh? Okay. So, actually, that's not even the Vegeta Blue thing. That's the Dispo thing because it's random. Okay. And then he gets 50% ultimate damage inflicted for 30 counts, which is, I believe, what he already has. Yep, same thing. Cannot be canceled. And then he also gives 10% to ally damage inflicted for 10 counts per card used. That's going to synergize ridiculously well with this screen card because of the card draw speed. That, like, I don't know. I don't know if they would go that crazy with it, but that's interesting for sure. Like this, especially combined with this as well, like that's an absurd combo. And then his new unique abilities that he's giving him at Zenkai 3 and 6. So the first one is going to be the following effects occur upon changing cover. Randomly destroys 2 enemy cards. Okay, interesting. So he comes in and he destroys 2 enemy cards, kind of like the Red Kale effect, right? Or Vados. Reduces damage received by 30% until enemy combo is over. The following effects occur after enemy attack is over. Plus 15% of damage inflicted for 20 timer counts, and then 10%. Okay, so he has like the purple cooler blue topo effect, where every time he gets hit, he's buffing his team and himself, and restores health by 10%. So wait, he's restoring health by 10% every time he gets hit. Okay, yeah, this is a crazy Zenkai ability, right? Or Zenkai unique ability right there. Next one is, what would the unique unlock that Zenkai 6 look like? The following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield when there is an allied tag GT character. It draws a strike card next. Okay. Again, another way for him to synergize with this right here. Increases our card draw speed by 1 level. Wow. He gets card draw speed as well. Okay. And then plus 20% strike damage inflicted. Okay. Yeah. So I really like the design that this guy went for this unit. I feel like everything synergizes really well with what he's already able to do, like pre-Zenkai. He's obviously, he wants to leverage the card draw speed with this already existing unique ability and just make it better by giving him a support for the allies, having him have the Dispel effect as well as just built-in card draw speed to his kit if you have a GT character on your team. But I don't know if they would make him this good. I just don't know. Then again, GT does need a very powerful unit on their team to make the team actually usable, because right now it's really, really not that good. So, I mean, if they were going to give any team a unit that's like just this good, I feel like one of the contenders would be GT because they need it. But then again, I don't know if they would go super, super all out like this. Let's just read what else he says. So what made you decide to make the character the way you made it? GT really does not have anyone who really excels at anything too much. Exactly, I agree. So I wanted to make GT Goku more of a juggernaut for the team, since I feel like if they had a juggernaut of that sort, then that would help the other characters on the team. Yes, that's correct, because you also made him buff the allies with this portion, which I think is really, really underrated. Like if I saw this like in an actual unit, I'd be going crazy, especially for one that has like double card draw speed effects. I also chose Red Gt Goku since I feel like if I did this, then you could run a Red Green GT setup, since the 2 best units on GT are Omega and Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku. That's also correct. Yeah, I mean, this guy definitely thought it out a lot. Definitely appreciate the effort he put into this. What role do you see the character in their teams, and how do they fit the current and potential future meta you see? He would mainly be a Juggernaut for GT specifically, and I guess by Juggernaut he means like sort of like a bruiser type unit. The only problem with that is I feel like the term Juggernaut really more so fits units that blast armor, but that's fine. But would mostly likely to be an offensive pummel. Okay, yeah, definitely, I feel that a lot. I feel like if GT got more buffs, he would see a lot of play being a unit that shines standing alone and supporting on the side with slight buffs. Yes. If this guy was an actual unit that got released, then GT would all of a sudden find itself in like one of the top positions in the meta again, I feel like, just because of how ridiculous he is. Definitely a well-designed unit, though, and I like the effort he put into basically all the new uniques as well. So not even the existing ones, but also like the Zenkai 3, Zenkai 6. Yeah, that's pretty much everything that I see here that I want to talk about.
And that's it for this video. What ideas did you have for GT? Let us know in the comments down below. Thanks again for everybody who took the time to submit your ideas, and of course to all of our creators. Their links will be in the description down below, so make sure to check them out. This was Palmzor for 5-9 Gaming. Have a good rest of your day and stay safe. Bye, everybody.